Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Attack on Titan anime review. This one's going to be for Season 4, Part 2, Episode 11, the second last episode of the season. So, yeah, there's only one episode of Attack on Titan to go, I guess. Obviously not. There's no way they're resolving this in just one more episode. We are still waiting to see, I think, what is going to happen next, whether they do a Part 3 for the season or announce some sort of Attack on Titan movie. But interestingly, there is a week break, I think, between this and the next episode. So we don't have an episode next Sunday. We have to wait until the following Sunday to get the kind of finale here. So I'm hoping they use the gap week to either announce what's going on here, like Part 3 or the movie, or they attach like the announcement of Part 3 of the movie onto the end of the last episode when we finally do get it. It's definitely around the time that we need this, and I think it probably would be for the best if going into the episode people are aware what's actually happening, just to avoid any and all confusion, because it is weird the way that this has been done. Because we got Season 3 Part 1 and Part 2, and that was very clearly they're the two parts of the season. So Part 2 should be the end of Attack on Titan for Season 4, but no, there is more. So they need to address that confusion. But this episode, action-focused start to finish. I thought it was brilliant. Very dynamic action. I thought it was animated well start to finish. A really good blend of sort of Titans being involved in the action, plus also emphasizing the maneuver gear, and in terms of the more sword-based style that our main characters have, and then the more thunder spear focused stuff that the Jaegerists have. Just so many great dynamics at play here. This episode was definitely helped by the fact that a lot of the groundwork for this was done in the previous episode. I was a little critical of the previous episode because they really laid it on thick. They spent a lot of time building up the idea of, like, you know, Connie and these characters have to kill their former comrades. But that came across, I think, very well in this episode, to the point where I felt like you almost didn't need to go in as big, because just seeing Connie be forced to sort of, you know, make his last stand in a way, cut through a lot of people as he joined the battle, that was a strong moment, in a way stronger than the, you know, sudden gunshot from the end of the previous episode. Seeing Connie with the resolve to, you know, this is what I think is right, I have to, you know, kill my comrades to make this happen. That was, I think, very, very well done. And I like the desperation that was got across throughout this action, that we have like 3 and later 4 Titans on our side, but we're still against the odds, because technology has advanced to the point where even random grunt soldiers on the Jaegerist side of things, who aren't characters that we know, are capable of taking down one of the 9 Titans, especially in a group. And like a character like, say, Annie is at risk, because the female Titan has like hardening to a certain extent, but it is not the same as the armor that Reiner has with the armored Titan. So she is very much relying on her skill, accuracy, speed, but the second she's forced to like take hits to defend the engineers, defend the boat, she's getting like bits of her kind of blown off, and that's like really, really crazy to see the last stand of those two who end up working really well together, Annie and Reiner. And then Pieck joins the battle, but Pieck has to more transport people like efficiently, and obviously isn't the most impressive like combat Titan. So obviously this creates the dynamic of, we kind of need Falco to join the fight, but Falco has no experience being a Titan. He hasn't transformed yet. So, you know, there's the kind of mystery surrounding that, in that Pieck even warns him, the first time never goes particularly well. Now is not the time to do your first time transforming. But he is forced into that situation. I like the little moments of, like, he tries to kind of, I think, put a nail into his hand to make it happen, but it's not working. And then it's only sort of when he is absolutely needed at the last minute, that everyone is going to die if he doesn't join the battle, that's when it happens. So they gave kind of Falco his sort of like Eren moment in a way, Now, he doesn't get to fight too much in that he just like jumps in, takes out a few people, goes on a bit of a rampage on the rooftops, um, and it's enough to sort of break the formation, which in combination with the reinforcement train being destroyed, allows the characters to get away. So this brings up, I suppose, the whole plot of this battle, what we're actually trying to accomplish here. Very early in the episode, they confirmed to us that just getting on board the flying boat and having it take off is not going to happen, because they revealed that it's going to take a full day, or at minimal a half day, for them to prepare the thing so that it can actually take off. And this is crazy. This is really hit home as a massive reveal because of the time crunch that we're under. The rumbling is happening. Every second that we're not getting towards Eren to try and stop him, those titans are, hitting land, destroying something, killing people. And the idea that Hanji gets across is that if we have to wait like a half day, and then the time it will actually take us from then to get there, by the time we arrive at where Eren is, he will probably have killed half the world's population. And that's what this confirms to us, is that regardless of what way the plan gets executed here, there is this acceptance that, at least 30 or 40, maybe even half more, that much of the population is going to die in this. So there's no stopping Eren before he goes overboard here. The rumbling is going to succeed to a certain extent, and that they basically confirm Liberio is gone at the end. It's there's no way it hasn't been trampled because of the time that has passed and the time that it will take them to get there. So that point I thought was actually gotten across pretty well. Maybe they could have cut across to what's actually happening with the rumbling, but I get it, we're focusing on what's happening here, and they want to build up, I suppose, our characters seeing the initial results of the rumbling for the first time as being that big moment. That's probably why we're not actually cutting over to Eren a lot, even though it's probably adversely affecting Eren as the show main character. It probably will help that moment be quite strong when it does happen. So, like I said, the desperation of this battle is gotten across quite well, to the point where it forces Connie out into the open to do some crazy 3D maneuver gear stuff. Jean is on the rooftops being the sort of Sasha sniper type in all of this. Mikasa gets to go absolutely crazy on the Jaegerists multiple times. There's some crazy animation of her just taking out whole squads of people on rooftops. They can't touch her. She's executing them in crazy fashions. It's some of the most brutal action I think we've seen. She's cutting people's heads off, basically carving people apart. I think she does something crazy with the wires as well. I think one guy gets completely wrapped up multiple times in the wire, and then whatever way she moves, it just, cuts him apart that way. That's maybe a little over the top, but that's what she does. She then stops after she does this, and a rain of blood comes down on her. They really went in on it. In a way, with the Mikasa stuff, they maybe went a little overboard, given that the theme of these episodes is that it is tragic what the characters have to do to their former comrades. Yet really embracing the violence with Mikasa was a little much, perhaps. And this again is where the sort of struggle with Mikasa as a character is, that they're trying to hit home this very emotional arc for her about, can you kill Eren specifically? And then she has no problem killing anyone else, seemingly, because it's mainly the other characters who are really dealing with it. Mikasa is a part of that. She doesn't want to, I guess, kill her comrades, but it's not emphasized as much with her, for sure. Not trying to, I suppose, make any over negative statement about Mikasa, but it's just the presentation of the character, I think, has not been particularly nuanced all that much. So it feels like it's abundantly obvious that they're setting it up and saying so many things about it that Mikasa is probably going to be the one to kill Eren, just because the rumbling is now sort of confirmed that it will happen to a certain degree. Um, that he has to be stopped in some way, and like Annie especially is really hitting home the point to Mikasa. Can you kill him, or can you sit back and watch as someone else kills him? And this is like Mikasa's big character decision that she has to make. This is when Armin and Mikasa had to sit down with Eren. Eren pointed out that you can't like oppose me because you are limited by being an Ackerman, and they're really emphasizing, freedom, and can she actually make this choice if she decides to make it. So that feels like it's a pretty obvious thing that is going to happen at some point, but we'll see how they actually build up to that. Like I've been saying for a while now, I think Mikasa needs a bit of character development. Obviously, Eren needs some character development just because we haven't focused on him much in season 4. So they're obviously setting up this conflict between those two, and the result of that is being a major point in the story. I'm wondering, will it hit when we get there? Because right now it feels like there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be done to make that happen. So there is that. The big threat that happens that really puts the sort of full desperation mode on this is the reinforcement on the train arriving, but then suddenly it explodes, and they only reveal in like the second last scene of the episode that it was actually Keith Shadis that was the one who took it down, inspired by seeing his students, go out to battle. This is what he set out to do. And that obviously sets up the idea of him and Magath at the end of the episode on the other boat that could pursue the characters on the other boat, making their kind of last stand here, getting on board the boat, going into the ammo room and setting it ablaze, effectively exploding the ship from within. That was a nice scene because Magath's death actually had a lot of impact. I liked what was talked about here, especially including Keith Shadis, who is revealed to obviously care a lot about his students, our main characters effectively, because he's the drill instructor from those early episodes, and we came back to him, of course. So this is a character with impact. Magath in this episode is very much positioned as being the Keith Shadis to the Marley characters. Like, he cares about the warriors and the younger characters. That's what is gotten across here, that he doesn't want Falco or the others to die. That, sure, there are times when he sort of toes the Marley line, but ultimately he does actually care about them in the same way that Keith cares about the main cast. So I like that comparison of just these two effectively allowing our other characters to have a shot in the final battle by preventing anyone from following them, and that's their sacrifice in all of this. And and again, it fits the theming of what's going on here. An Islander and a Marleyan working together, sacrificing themselves together in this last moment. That definitely was got across, I think, quite well. Other moments, at the end of the battle, obviously everyone makes it out alive. We don't lose anyone of note necessarily. I don't think Flock is dead. They show him getting shot down as he's about to shoot the Thunder Spear at the boat. So he gets shot last minute, and that puts his shot slightly off, and it doesn't do enough damage to cripple the ship or anything like that. But the way they showed him falling into the water, he was very much still alive. I wonder how exactly he's going to make his way to be more significant going forward, but I think they will give this character a more impactful death scene than this. It feels like they're building up to, like, he's going to do one final thing that will kind of damage the plan, but he will get taken down in the end. Now, the exact nature of how that happens, would he kill one of our characters before he gets taken down himself? Because he's meant to be, the one most loyal to Eren, most loyal to Eren's plan, to the island, to the Jaegerists. He is being positioned as, like, the battles that everyone had to be a part of forged Flock into this character. He has to have a more impactful death than this. So I'm kind of interested to see how that goes and what exactly happens and everything. But our characters, for the most part, do get away. Annie has, obviously she's the one who tells Mikasa, can you kill Eren again? But she quits because she finds out that because of the timing and everything, either her father is already dead, or by the time they get there, Libero will be destroyed and her father likely dead. This is the one thing that she was fighting for, now that she's come to this realization of that she does have people she cares about, and her father is seemingly the one person. And now that she knows he's gone, she doesn't have anything to fight for. So with Annie, it's going to be a situation of like, what gets her back into the fight. I'm guessing there will have to at least be a scene with Armin, because I think they've set up Annie and Armin as having some sort of a connection. So that conversation has been sort of distracted a few times from happening. I think we need to get around to that some more. Falco can now transform properly, I guess, and that shouldn't be too much of a problem going forward. Otherwise, most of the other Titans like that are in play here are fine. We're just, I suppose, going to have to wait and see how long it takes for the flying boat to be prepared, and then when we get there, how exactly the final sequence takes place. I think what they're doing with all of that, the kind of complexities about, why they're not just taking the boat and instead having this, they're not just taking the flying boat and having it go off and instead going down here and then getting the flying boat, is that I think they want the characters to see the results of the rumbling, so that as the preparation for the flying boat is happening, they're aware of what exactly is happening, what they're going into in terms of the final battle. And then, it's going to be this kind of like, they know what they're up against for sure going into it. I think that's the main intent with all of that. But otherwise, yeah, like, really good action episode. Lots of dynamic and really cool shots of animation. And some decent character moments for specific characters. But I'm very interested to see how they end the season to set up whatever comes next. They showed Eren in the preview, but it was a flashback to him talking to Zeke. So I don't know if that's going to reveal more about what's going on here. Does it mean we're going back to Eren in the previous episode? We're going back to Eren perspective. I'm not sure. Either way, 2 weeks until the next episode, and hopefully we find out what is coming next. But in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on this episode and what I had to say about it. But that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.